How's it going, everybody? So I just want to address an issue that often comes up when people are talking about voluntarism or anarcho-capitalism, and that contention often comes up in the form of, but who will build the roads? And of course, it's kind of like a silly thing that's become a trope, especially in libertarian circles, that, oh, who's going to help develop the roads and things like that. And, the obvious answer to that is the same people who were doing it before. Private contractors, private engineers, they're already doing that. They were already being used by the government to produce those things. But that's not really the core issue when it comes to the roads question. The roads question is really one that's not material about who's going to build them, because as you probably have already seen, they've already been built. The roads everywhere around us have largely been created, laid out conveniently all across, especially the United States and even other major nation states. Roads are not really in short supply. They're pretty well developed, actually. So the question then is, okay, if there's already roads, what's the next step then to advance liberty and to move toward a more voluntarist state of existence? And that comes in with the question of who will maintain the roads. And for that question of who will maintain the roads and do upkeep, I do support the voluntarist concept of the not-for-profit government model. And as I mentioned in previous videos, the not-for-profit government model turns the government into more of a not-for-profit styled entity where there's no more taxation, it's all voluntary funding, and other types of schemes to use to help raise support that don't involve forcing people into an automatic mandatory pay scheme. And the two ways that I see roads being funded in a way that's efficient and effective under voluntarist norms and leading toward more free market solutions is to have roads funded with pay lanes that are for more express lanes. And this already exists in many states where you could have a special type of toll-ish road where you get a more private access that's maybe a faster route or a faster route along the public roadways. And also, in addition to that, using a type of national lottery system for the roads, not to get access to it, but to raise support for funds in funding and keeping up the roads. And I think that this is something that, again, it's already in existence. It's not really a weird concept. Governments have used state and national lotteries in order to fund different types of programs. And so I see no reason why that couldn't be done again, but this time have people voluntarily play lotteries and use funds from that to help with the upkeep of the roads. And so in two ways, by still making roads public and not changing anything, that is not changing what people expect as far as being able to have access to just drive out of their driveway, go to businesses, or travel, governments are able to use these mechanisms to actually fund the upkeep of the road as private market solutions start to arise. And so I think that that really is the best way to move forward. And some people will try to say, well, just privatize everything, but I think that that doesn't really make sense at the onset. If you want a transition where everyone is going to have as much of a normal life as possible moving forward, while also freeing the market, understanding that things that may have already been built are going to exist and people are going to rely on those things is not necessarily weird. In fact, it's probably much more comforting to most people to know that, okay, as of tomorrow, I have to figure out how I'm going to navigate the roads and how the private systems and blah, blah, blah going to work. That doesn't have to change. You can keep what is, find ways to take the coercion out of the equation, and then allow the free market to come up with the next solutions. Because I think that once you have the market freed, roads may become a less traveled means, especially as we start to look at types of water travel and air travel, drones, flying cars, etc. I think that these things are going to arise and start to take the needs for roads down. They'll become less traveled as other types of free market alternatives arise. And again, as long as the government isn't monopolizing the ability to create new roads afterward or to create new systems of transport, I think that most people would actually be pretty darn happy with that, to know, hey, there's still public transportation in terms of roads, in terms of sidewalks, but now if they want to fund it, it has to be done voluntarily, and now let the free market step in to start to produce the next wave and evolution of efficiencies in transportation. So again, it's a fun question always to respond to when people say, but who will build the roads? But the roads are already built. They're there. Now let's think about, how do those roads get maintained? How does the next step in the growth of freedom, kind of come to pass in a way that starts to maximize consent and minimize the initiation of violence. So thanks so much, everybody. I'll talk to y'all later.